Alright, hey guys. So we're gonna do some more little CD stuff. So here, hold on, wait, let me see. I think it where we left off. Hold on, I don't know why. Alright. See here. Oh, we already did all those. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, here we go. And I'm gonna take one out just so it's easier to. Alright, so this one is Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd. This one was my favorite Pink Floyd album for a really, really, really long time. It's probably my second favorite now though, but it's still a really great release though. But my favorite song, actually I think my favorite song by them might be. It's probably Shine On. Might You Crazy Down There if you already combine the two. It's a pretty good song. Yeah, it's still a really great release though. I think it's kind of the members' favorite release that they did, but I prefer Animals over this. But it was my favorite for a really long time. This is still a really great release though. Yeah, a lot of fans consider it to be their best. Wish You Were Here. They diehard fans, but let's see here. This one is Hail to the Thief by Radiohead, and I'd say it's one of their weaker albums, but it's still a really, really great release though. It's one of their very politically charged albums, and I also believe it's their longest. It has some really great songs on this though, like the intro, the first track, 2+2+5 is a really good song. There is a really great song. And there's the last track where Tom York is actually kind of rapping, and it somehow isn't cringy. I remember that, but this is probably let's see, I don't know, let me see. So probably my sixth favorite. No, my seventh. Probably my seventh favorite release by them. Okay. This one is MTV Unplugged. This is if you've heard Nirvana's MTV Unplugged, Alice in Chains also did a really, really great MTV Unplugged release. It's not as good as Nirvana's one, but it's still a really great release. And the CD is not in here. This is originally belonged to my dad, but the CD's not in here, unfortunately. But this is also a really good album, though. My favorite Nirvana release is actually their MTV Unplugged, but I'd still say that Alice in Chains' best is still probably Jar of Flies, but this is still a pretty great release too. I wouldn't rank it up with some of their best studio albums though, but it's still a good release though. But yeah, hold on. Alright, so this one is Vespertine by Bjork. And she's an Icelandic musician, and also this is probably not a fake one, but like it's, I don't know, they probably had to get a different case for this, because I don't know, I highly doubt the back would look like this. But this is my favorite Bjork release, and that's the album there. It's one of my favorite albums ever, one of my favorite electronic music albums. This is a really, really pretty release. And I know Homogenics is her most popular one. Well, I guess a lot of people can see Homogenic as their best album that came before this one, but I think this one's better. This is definitely her best release in my opinion. Okay, let's see here. I'm not going to do this one, because, hold on, no wait. I'm not going to do this, because obviously it's just, this is a little CD, this is where with the little stickers and the rainbow thing I mentioned, but this is just a little CD I made when I was a little kid, where I covered some songs. Let It Bleed, the Rolling Stones. This was given to me as a gift for Christmas, and this is my second favorite Rolling Stones album, if I had to say. I think it was the first one I listened to all the way through, though. And this one has Give Me Shelter on this. It's a good song. And You Can't Always Get What You Want is another good song off this. Let me get the CD out. One sec. Hold on. Rolling Stones isn't a group I listen to a whole lot, but I do enjoy their music though. There's some people that are super into this group. That's personally not me though, but I do enjoy their music though. I do think they're a good group. Okay, okay, so this one is, I don't really know how you pronounce this, Clippinge, by Clipping. It's probably just pronounced Clipping, but I don't know. But this is their first album. I think Mid City is more classified as a mixtape, but Clipping is, I think I've talked about them before. They're a very good group. They're one of the most, in my opinion, I think they've been kind of getting better after each studio album. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like each one of their releases has been better than the last, and they constantly impress me. They're, let's see, their new album is by far the best thing they ever did. And they also released a song that's actually my favorite song they did is Chapter 319. This is their brand new song. But yeah, this is a good album too, though. But I'd say this is their most well-known. And I remember when I first heard this, I listened to it constantly, but I feel like they released a couple more better albums than this later. But this is still a great release, though. But yeah. One of their, probably, I would say their most accessible, I would say. Okay. This one is Jane Doe by Converge, and they're a metalcore band. A lot of people see this as the greatest metalcore album ever made, and personally I prefer the Dillinger Escape Plan over this group, but this is still a really great release. It's a concept album and really interesting structures. Probably some of the most terrifying vocals I've ever heard come off this. And Jacob Bannon painted all these, I think. And the vinyl version I have also comes with a booklet, but it has one extra page of the group. These are all lyrics of the songs. There's some really great lyrics off of this too. And actually, that's a page on the CD that isn't on the vinyl, but the vinyl one has a page that just has a picture of the band members. All right. There we go. Here's Homogenic by Bjork. This is, I guess you can kind of, I guess Post is technically our most popular one, but this is the one that critics really love, and the jewel case is unfortunately broken. That's alright, I can get a different one. But this is my second favorite release from Bjork. And a lot of the critics kind of see this as their best, but I personally prefer Vespertine, as I already mentioned. But this is still a really great release. It is a very futuristic sound. There's some really kind of aggressive. I'd say this is more experimental, I guess you can kind of say. Maybe it depends on who you ask. Vespertine has some more experimental songs on it too, but Vespertine is just really pretty. And this one is interesting too. If you're really into EDM and stuff like that, you might prefer this one. There are some beautiful moments on this. This is still a great album. I just prefer Vespertine. Alright, this is just a little, this is a CD that, yeah, these are just a couple of CDs that this one person came to like paint our house, and he came, and I got into a conversation with him about music, and he made a couple CDRs of some groups I wanted to check out, being one of the Moody Blues, and they're actually a really good group. I'm glad he actually got me into them. They're a pretty good group. Alright, this one's Year of the Snitch by Death Grips, their most recent studio album. Not their most recent release. They had this Gmail and this Restraining Orders thing last year that they kind of gave out in the blue, but it technically isn't a new release, you could probably say, but I don't know. But this is Year of the Snitch, and I'd say it's their weirdest album yet, and it's probably their most what's the word? So it's probably their most musically diverse. There's a lot of genres on there. So there's some jazz, there's some punk, there's some like EDM, there's some, I don't know, there's all sorts. I think I actually prefer the EP they dropped the year before this, Steroids, over this. But this is a good release though. I wouldn't, I think all their albums are good. It's kind of hard to compare them, but out of their super recent stuff, I'd say this is my least favorite out of their really recent stuff. But it's still a good release though. Still some really great songs off of it. Very weird album though. Okay. This is Lemonade by Beyonce. my ex-girlfriend gave me this as a birthday gift because she knows I like music, and so she got me this. And I like this is my favorite Beyonce album. I actually think she actually dropped a live album called Homecoming last year, and I actually think that's my favorite release that she did. But this is my favorite out of her studio albums, and this one was kind of inspired by her relationship with Jay-Z, the fact he was most likely having an affair and all that stuff. But yeah, there's some really great songs on this. I haven't really listened to this in a while. I'll need to return back to it. And we'll do one more CD, and then we'll just call it quits for the day. This is a really great release, though. Beyonce is actually pretty consistent. I feel like she's kind of also one of those artists getting better after each album. And I used to not really like her stuff when she kind of started, but she's actually been making some interesting stuff lately. Alright, let me do one more CD, and then we'll call it quits for the day. Her sister's actually pretty good musician, too. Her name's Solange. Okay. This one is To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar, and this is the last one we'll do for the day. So, obviously, I already heard Kendrick Lamar. You probably already heard this album. This album is kind of almost like the cornerstone of music of the 2010s, and a lot of people rank this as the best album of the decade and all that stuff. And some people even call it one of the greatest hip hop releases ever created, and an instant classic when it first came out. I remember how much people, like, critics loved this, and I remember some kids at my school were like, I don't get it. He should do beats and all that stuff. I'm like, I don't know, but this is definitely Kendrick Lamar's best, in my opinion. And I do think it's I wouldn't say it's the best album of the decade, but it is up there. In my opinion, there's some albums I like more than this. But let me tell you this album, the message of this album today has got to be more relevant than ever, because of the Black Lives Movement and all that stuff. This album is truly ahead of its time, and really great release, and probably one that's just very relevant if you go to what's all happening in the day today and everything. This is a really great album, and it definitely is a classic in hip hop. And let's see. Okay, that's about it for today, guys. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Have yourself a great rest of your day, and goodbye.